SoFi is a banking tech stock and it's been hated on for a fair while now, but is that unfair? Now, those new to SoFi, well, if you're familiar with companies like Revolut in the UK, then it's a similar type of stock. It's trying to revolutionise the banking sector through, like say, technological innovation. Now, it's been doing pretty well in the US, but that stock price, like I say, has been hated on for a fair while now. And looking at that price, is it good value? Is it a stock worth further consideration? There's plenty of upside to be had there, so I'm going to have a look at the charts, a bit of background into the company to see where that price could be headed next. So let's take a look. Bit of background first. I've jumped into their website, SoFi.com, full of all the stuff you need to know about them. And really, you've got to classify these as a banking services sector stock with a bit of a tech edge to them. Now, rivals maybe Synchrony Financial, Discover Financial, even Capital One or American Express. But a company of about 6 billion market cap, 2,500 employees, headquartered in San Francisco. And like I said, they've got more of a tech edge, more of a modern slant to financial services than most. And that's what gives them their edge. They're also into servicing their members. They've got about 5 million of them. As you can see from the front page here, they offer a lot of financial services, very big into the student side of things as well. And it's worth having a little troll through their platform. Their website gives a lot about what they're about. They're, like I said, very good in the mobile application, the modern side of banking. Now, the price, like I mentioned in the introduction, hasn't been doing that well since they floated, been pulling back to lows, and it's looking reasonable value at the moment, especially when you have a look at what the analysts are also saying about it. So those analysts currently have it as a buy. There's 12 analysts, 9 of them have it as a buy, 3 as a hold. And range of prices in their estimates go from 10 highs to 5 lows. Current price around about $6.50. The mean price is 7.5. Now, the analyst ratings have been fluctuating and they have been high as 13, 18 not so long ago. And I said there's plenty of upside in a sector that is doing pretty well and should do well in these maybe more volatile economic times. So into the weekly Heikin-Ashi chart for SoFi, and as you can see, they haven't been around for that long. Really, it's November 2020 that they came into the public eye, and they did have a good start, pushing up to highs around $28.50, and then it's been a bumpy ride ever since. And they stayed within that range of maybe, call it, I don't know, 15 to the highs of the $28, but then we had this collapse in the price over 22 down into the lows here. You can see here just above $4. Now at the moment the signals are looking a bit more bullish and volatility starting to pick up. You can see here about 50-60%. Volume though, nothing really special in terms of pickup there, which we'd like to see. Did pick up on that spike day we saw, spike week a few weeks back. But what I like about this is, especially with the analyst ratings out there, is there's a good upside return to be had. Now the first one is the top end of those analyst ratings, just about 10, which is, as you can see, about a 50% return on your investment. And looking at the charts now, if things do go well for SoFi and the sector performs well, like this bottom support area and their price, which to me is another potential upside target before it gets maybe a bit more slow momentum in its growth before it decides where to go next, and that's around about $13, which is a 98% increase from where we are now. So it's got some certain potential there, an upside as a play, and I think it's one worth keeping an eye on. Now, if you are bullish, the 4-line break chart is a good way of getting in on reversals, and we've got a bullish setup here. We've got the price coming off, as you can see, and we're looking for that re-entry around about 6.5, 6 3/4 to the upside if you are, like I say, a bit more bullish aggressive. And into the Renko charts in the medium shorter term. On the left, the medium term used a 30 cents block size, and you can see that trend that we talked about. You know, it hasn't been great. On it comes down, but we've got this support around the $4 area at the moment. In the medium, signals are weak to neutral. Target wise, I think it's either back down to the lows and this stock becomes a bit of a bore, or we can see some sort of progression from this sort of zone here around the $6, and we would be picking off 7 3/4, 8 3/4, and then, you know, that target we mentioned, the late 9s to $10. Now the shorter term, what does that reflect? What are our immediate sort of targets? Again, we've got the short term downtrend in play. We've got a double bottom here on the Renko chart, so hopefully that's some sort of bottoming out pattern for a bounce back up into this sort of area. What are we talking? 7, 7.5, maybe 7 3/4 to the upside. Next downside, if it breaks, reverses back down, say it's about $6 to the downside, then $5.50. Signals wise, just starting to pick up though to the bullish side. So interesting mix there. Maybe the downside momentum has slowed and it's building a base for a possible push up. So let's go through all that we've looked at so far, summarize it and give SoFi a score. Based on what we've seen, I'm going for neutral overall. Just don't think it's the right time at the moment. I'd need some more positive indicators in there for a switch in that trend upwards. Although momentum has slowed to the downside, so starting to look encouraging, and the fundamentals behind it are also pretty encouraging, and especially around the analysts and their point of view. Now, digging into the numbers here, top right, we've got some decent sentiment, weak bullish fundamentals, and a bullish line break chart entry for you around 6.5 and 6 3/4. The Renko charts, short term, medium, longer term, mixed bag, so I've given them neutral overall in both, you know, lengths of trend. And then in terms of upsides and the targets, 5 and 8 to 1, so pretty decent there. Being a bit more aggressive in entry, and then downsides 1.88 and 3.13, so still something in it there for the bears. But overall, at the moment, neutral with a slight, you know, bullish, you know, outlook on the stock. Now, if I was playing this and wanted to go long, yeah, no, I wasn't going the outright stock position, or maybe using CFDs or spread bets to get some leverage. I'll consider some options, and I would go, you know, maybe longer term call options here, and I'd be talking expiry maybe middle of the year, June, July. See here on this broker platform I use, Tiger Brokers, you've got June 16th, 109 days, July, you know, 21st, 144 days, maybe even October, 235 days. Give it some time to work, but that'll keep the cost down of the option trade if you go longer term. Now, in terms of strikes, it's up to you really where you think that price is going to get to. I'd suggest something maybe nearer the money rather than out of the money, but there is, like we said from that chart early on, 50 to 100% potential upside there. So some trade option ideas for you. So far an interesting one really. It's certainly a stock that could gather some momentum, especially around the social media side, that could help that price move on. Fundamentals, technicals, you know, looking a bit more encouraging. Like to hear what you think on the stock. Can it move on back up towards, you know, the $10 mark and beyond? Be interesting to hear your thoughts. And if you want to learn more about the technical analysis, the charts that I've used in this video, then I've got a playlist that's on my channel coming up for you right now.